Hey guys, what's going on? Seth here. I'm doing my Q&A finally, and decided I'd just hop on the bandwagon. Now, before any of you ask, no, this is not to promote my cosplay page, because I don't have one. This isn't to promote 2 Bros and Sissy, or also now known as 3 Bros and Sissy. This is just me. This is just a personal Q&A that I've decided to start up. You guys just asking questions, silly questions, and serious questions and whatnot, and I thought I'd answer them for you. Now, I have gotten a lot of questions, so if yours isn't picked this episode, don't worry. I plan on doing more in the future. So, without further ado, let's answer some questions. And I'm limiting 2 questions per person per episode, so you can't ask up to 2 questions per episode. So, if you have more than 1 question, or more than 2 questions, I do have them saved, and I will put them in another episode. So, don't worry, guys. We will get all your questions answered. So first one is from Ray, and Ray asks, actually has 2 questions. The first one is, do you love me? Only on Thursdays. And the second question is, if you could invite one famous person you adore to a con you were attending, and they would give out free autographs and photos, but you would not be able to get within 20 feet of them, who would you pick and why? Now, this might be a little strange answer. My answer is Jason David Frank, as most of you know, is one of my idols and one of my favorite Power Rangers of all time, pretty much. Here's why. One, I've already met him, and it's nothing. I would love to meet him again. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I love this guy. This guy's awesome. He's so down to earth. He's friendly with all of his fans. He puts his time and dedication into that, rather than, you know, he's not in it for the money. He's not in it for the publicity. He's there for his fans. And if I'm able to get somebody to a con that's giving away free autographs, photos, and time, who's that dedicated to his fans, that's what I would want. That's what I would want. And it would be so cool just to have that. Even if I wasn't able to get 20 feet of him, you know, it'd still be worth it, just to see everybody else's smiling faces. The next 2 questions come from David Owens. The first question is, what would you do for a Klondike bar? I'd kill my brother, and I'm an only child. The second question is, what are your thoughts on the Subasicon Ranger group? Now, for those that don't know, I started a group called Subasicon Power Rangers, and it's a group of Power Ranger cosplayers that's either has or working on a Power Rangers cosplay that's going to be attending Subasicon 2015 and possibly 2016. And so far, it's great. You guys have been really responsive. You guys have been showing your support, your ideas, fandom stuff from different Power Ranger series and stuff. It's fantastic. I'm absolutely loving it. I haven't seen any negative comments or feedback or anything like that. No problems that I've been addressed of so far. So keep up the great work, guys. It's awesome. Speaking of Power Rangers, our next our next question comes from Sarah Thacker, who asks, if you could make or add any Ranger to the team, what would he or she look like? Now, my friend Thomas and I have actually been talking about doing a new Power Ranger group, not for cosplay, maybe in the way later future, but our own new Power Ranger team that's original characters and whatnot. And I want to do a black Crow Ranger, either Crow or Fox. And the reason I say Fox is because, I'm sorry guys, Wolf has been overdone. You've had the Blue Wolf Ranger from the Mighty Morphin era, you had the Lunar Wolf Ranger from, Wild Force, you had the Purple Wolf Ranger from Jungle Fury. It's just been overdone. But yeah, that would be my made-up Ranger. Next question comes from Jewish Cowboy. Oh, Thomas Clark. I'm sorry. Will we ever get an arcade machine for the Crow's Nest? I should have looked over some of these. For those that don't know, my game room that you actually see me filming in right now is called Crow's Nest. And I wish, buddy. I really wish we could get an arcade machine. Question is, what arcade machine would we get? Me personally, I'd want the big 2-screen X-Men 6-player arcade machine. Either that or Turtles in Time would be a close second. Our next question comes from Callum White, who asks, what future big projects can we look forward to? Well, most of you know 2 Bros and Sissy is now being dubbed as 3 Bros and Sissy. We got a new cast member, Mike Richards, aka Shy Guy 357. And we've expanded on that. The countdown videos are coming out soon. And I have a few projects that are coming in mind right now, but I can't really go into detail with them because they're in the pre-production stage right now, so they're kind of in the works right now, not even done filming or anything like that, so just wait and see. This channel will have a lot of cool stuff coming in the near future. Sorry, Callum, I can't go into more details about it, but trust me, you'll enjoy it. Our next question, 2 questions, come from TK, who first asked, do you want to make a contract? No. The second question is, what is the square root of pi? Well, that's easy. Cake. Next question comes from ML Miller, who first question is, who is your idol? I actually have a lot of idols, and one I've said is Jason David Frank. When I grew up watching Power Rangers, he inspired me to actually join martial arts for a few years, you know, do the right thing, be the good guy and whatnot. My dad was an idol to me. I always looked up to him, and, you know, he got me into playing guitar, kind of playing video games too, because I remember when I was a kid, I had the original Nintendo, the old NES, and he would sit there and play Battletoads with me and Duck Hunt and whatnot. So those are my 2 big idols, would be Jason David Frank and my dad. And the second question that he asks is, how much wood can a woodchuck chuck before he chucks all of his wood? Well, that's easy. Chuck Norris. Our next question comes from Keegan Phillips, who asks, do you think Belle from Beauty and the Beast has Stockholm Syndrome? I don't know. Let's ask Mr. Bottle. Mr. Bottle, what do you think? I don't know, Seth. I think Keegan Phillips is kind of crazy himself. Yeah, I think so too. Let's go on to the next question. Next question comes from Otto Pinkerton, who is also Slender Bro, if you guys know him. He asks, what gave you the inspiration to cosplay? Well, Halloween has always been my favorite holiday, and it still is, and I love dressing up and stuff, so I guess Halloween has always been my inspiration to dress up and cosplay, because as a kid, when I was starting to get into anime, watching like Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z, for Halloween I would dress up as some of the characters like Ash and Goku. And when I started learning about anime conventions, it just inspired me. It's like, hey, how about I start going to these cons and dressing up too? I don't have to wait till Halloween in order to go to these things and dress up. So that's what kind of got me into cosplay. Next question comes from Travis Frisbee, who asks, besides Mighty Morphin through In Space, between Lost Galaxy and Super Megaforce, who is your favorite and least favorite Power Ranger seasons? And he has a second question to this, so I'm going to say it first, and then I'll answer the whole thing. Also, besides a Ranger that Jason David Frank was, what other Ranger would you want to cosplay as? Alright, sorry about that, folks. Batteries was dying in the camera, so I had to switch them out. So, okay, anyway, Travis, to answer your questions. My favorite series, besides anything from Mighty Morphin to In Space, I would have to say Wild Force, and I'm not exactly sure why. There's something about Wild Force that was really, really done well. Don't get me wrong, like, most of the seasons have been really good, like Lightspeed Rescue, Time Force, like, all of them, most of them have been pretty good. But for some reason, I don't know, something about Wild Force just brings me back to it. I don't know if it's the theme, the actors, the suits or whatnot. Something about Wild Force just, I really, really liked. My least favorite is Operation Overdrive. I could make an entire video of what is wrong with that series. Now, don't get me wrong, if you like that series, great, more power to you. Just me personally, I loathe this series. I hate this worse than Turbo, which is announced to be one of the worst seasons of Power Rangers ever by most fans. But since it's, you know, Mighty Morphin through Spaces can't qualify, Operation Overdrive. And I have various reasons, and if I go on about the reasons, trust me, it would take up about a good 30 minutes of this video, which I'm not going to do. But anyway, that's my favorite and least favorite. As for favorite Ranger to cosplay, besides one that Jason David Frank has been, Shadow Ranger from SPD. I would love to have that suit. It just screams badass. So, our next question comes from Jared Farrell, no relation, even though he's a cool guy and consider him my brother. What is your favorite group cosplay that you've done so far? Well, I have a few. One of my favorites is Bros Sissy. He has a Well, I've only been a part of one group cosplay. Well, technically two. But they're both Naruto. One was I was just a character from Naruto, and the other was the whole all the members of Akatsuki. And out of all of them so far, the Akatsuki one has been really cool. But there are a few group cosplays I plan on being a part of in the near future. One being obviously the Power Rangers one, which I'm really excited for. There's been talk of a Scott Pilgrim one that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and that's kind of in the works, possibly. But I love group cosplays, you know. Granted, I know sometimes it doesn't always work for everybody and whatnot. Sometimes people aren't able to get their cosplay done. They don't have the money, they don't have the resources and whatnot. But, you know, that's cool, which, you know, why I also support individual cosplay. But group cosplay is really fun, too. Our next question comes from Matt Townsend, and he asks, what is the one villain you wish to fight more than any other? And this is for Power Rangers and in general. That's a good question, because I don't want to pick a villain that's too weak or too strong, because I want a decent challenge, but I don't want it to be like, hey, I just walked through that guy. In an aspect for Power Rangers, just as a thought, like, because this is one of my favorite villains, is the Dark Warrior, and he was actually featured in the Power Rangers Super Nintendo game as the Stage 5 boss, I think, and I just really liked his concept, so it'd be really cool to fight him. If I had to pick a main villain from Power Rangers, it'd be Zed, because Zed was just badass, and just being able to test my power against him. In general, oh good god. I really don't know. To be 100% honest, I have no idea who I would want to fight. In general, so I'm sorry, Matt. I know that's kind of a cop-out for an answer, but that's just it. Next question comes from Ryoko, and she asks, well, technically it's kind of a sentence. Poof! Maleficent just turned you into your spirit animal. What are you and why? Now, this one's a little tricky. Because one, you guys all know my obvious answer. Crow. And that is technically one of my spirit animals. But technically, I have two spirit animals. Well, technically, I have two, and there's a third one watching me. And this is just, you know, I'm not trying to get into religion or anything like that. This is just kind of what I believe and stuff, because I am Christian and whatnot. You know, if you're not, don't worry. You know, I'm not going to go on a tangent saying, oh, you're not Christian. But anyway, that's, you know, neither here nor there. But my first answer would be a crow, because just that's kind of one that's been given to me as a nickname, and it's just kind of stuck ever since. My second one is a wolf. Yes, I know earlier I talked about wolves being somewhat overrated through Power Rangers, but yeah, a wolf. I've just always had a fascination with wolves and whatnot, and just feel like that's one of my spirit animals. And the one that watches over me is a bear, because, you know, where my dad passed away and whatnot, his nickname was Bear, so I've always got this feeling of a bear just watching over me, kind of guiding me, protecting me, and whatnot. So, I know that's kind of a complicated answer, but I'm just going to stick by it. And finally, our last question comes from Kristen Bell, who asks, will you ever do a drunk episode of 3 Bros and Sissy? And no, I don't plan on doing a drunk episode because of a couple of reasons. One, I like to keep the show PG-13 for, you know, all the swearing and stuff that we accidentally do. It just kind of slips, people, I'm sorry. And I just do a lot of editing to it. And I don't know why. I have this feeling of, if I do it drunk, which I've only been drunk one time. I've only been drunk once, and I will never, ever, ever do it again, just because it was a really bad experience. And I feel like if I was drunk playing a video game, like, I would be promoting getting drunk, and I don't know why. I know a lot of people find that really weird and childish, but that's just how I kind of feel about it. I know that it's just like, oh, look at this guy, he's drunk and playing a video game and yelling obscenities and whatnot, and you know, that is entertaining. You know, that probably would get a lot of views, but just me personally, I don't know. It just feels like I would be promoting alcohol abuse or getting drunk to have fun and whatnot, and that's just not me. You know, I don't believe you have to be drunk to have a good time. Not that I'm saying there's anything wrong with drinking. If you do it responsibly, yeah, go for it. You know, but yeah, that's just kind of just how I feel about it. So I highly doubt I'll be doing any drunk episodes of 3 Bros Sissy. Well, guys, that's going to do it for my very first Q&A. Like I said, if your question wasn't answered, don't worry. I'll be doing more of these in the near future. I'm sorry this one took so long to get out, but there's a lot of things that went on in a span of 1 week recently when I said I was going to do this. So, thank you guys for your questions. Feel free to leave more down in the comments below for the next Q&A, either where you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube or whatnot. And I will see you guys next time.